Okay, good day everyone. The topic for today is about crimes against persons. Let's start with Article 246, which is parricide. So the elements of this crime are the following. The first one is that a person is killed. Second, that the deceased is killed by the accused. And third, that the deceased is the father, mother, or child, whether legitimate or illegitimate, or a legitimate other ascendant or other descendant, or the legitimate spouse of the accused. Now, it is important to note that one of the most crucial elements of parricide is relationship. Okay, so dapat merong relationship between the offender and the victim. So we have here legitimate and illegitimate. So pag sinabing legitimate, ibig sabihin yung bata o yung anak ay pinanganak ng kasal yung magulang. On the other hand, illegitimate kapag wedlock. Ibig sabihin yung bata pinanganak na hindi kasal yung magulang. Ngayon, masasabing may parricide unang kapag halimbawa yung tatay pinatay niya yung anak niya, whether legitimate pa yan or whether illegitimate. Okay, so the same goes with the children. Pag pinatay nila yung magulang nila, uh, they will also be held liable for parricide. Now, let's talk about ascendant and descendant. So, pag sinabing ascendant, di ba, ascend, ibig sabihin pataas. So, yung mga ascendant, yung mga lolo, great-grandparents, mga ganyan. So, kapag pinatay din yun ng isang apo or ng mga anak, then pasok din siya sa parricide. And the same goes to them as well. Now, kapag ikaw ba, pinatay mo yung kapatid mo, pasok ba siya dito sa parricide? Hindi. Okay, so hindi po siya pasok sa parricide kapag pinatay ng isang tao yung kapatid niya. Okay, also, kapag halimbawa, um, may common law wife and husband, even though they are treating each other as husband and wife, if hindi legitimate yung relationship nila, ibig sabihin hindi sila kasal, still, kapag pinatay ng isang partner yung isa, hindi rin siya pasok sa parricide unless na lamang if the partnership is legitimate or ibig sabihin kasal na sila. Yun, please note of that. Okay, so under Article 247, we have here death or physical injuries inflicted under exceptional circumstances. So, ito yung mga elements na meron under this article. First is that a legally married person or appearance surprises his spouse or his daughter, the latter under 18 years old, and living with him in the act of committing sexual intercourse with another person. So that number two, that he or she kills any or both of them or inflicts any or both of them any serious physical injury in the act of immediately thereafter. Number three, that he has not promoted or facilitated the prostitution of his wife or daughter, or that he or she has not consented to infidelity of the other spouse. So dito, ito yung one of the controversial, masasabi, na article under the Philippine law. So, kung halimbawa, legitimate yung relationship, ibig sabihin mag-asawa si Pedro at si Maria. Now, isang araw, nakita ni Pedro si Maria nasa kwarto nila and nandun din si Juan and nakita niya or nahuli niya yung dalawa na nagkakaroon ng sexual intercourse. Now, if Pedro inflict a physical injury upon them or even killed either or both of them, maaaring gamitin niya yung yung pagkakataon na yon as a defense. Okay? Kasi, ang pinaparusahan or ang minimin po na circumstance or pangyayari under this article ay kapag yung asawa mo, legitimate na asawa mo, ay nahuli mo on act of doing sexual intercourse or nahuli mo yung anak mong babae na nakatira pa sa inyo of having also sexual intercourse with another person. Now, Article 247 does not specify what kind of what kind of crime this is, but rather it actually elaborates or it shows that this article may be used by the person who inflicted injury or even death to their spouse or and to the paramour na pwede itong gawing depensa kasi the penalty for this offense is only this chero. Okay, so ibig sabihin, parang 25 kilometers sa radius, minimum, and 250 kilometers naman maximum. So, ang rationale ng penalty na yon ay para protektahan yung asawa, yung legitimate na asawa, and yung magulang against sa paggaganti ng mga tao or ng biktima ng physical injury or ng death, as the case may be. Okay, so we have here murder, Article 248. So these are the elements of murder. The first one is that the person is killed. Second, that the accused killed him. The third is that the killing was attended by any of the following qualifying circumstances. And the fourth, that the killing is not parricide or infanticide. So ito yung mga circumstances na minimin ito. The first one is treachery, taking advantage of superior strength with the aid of armed men or employing means to weaken the defense or means or persons to ensure or afford impunity. So pag sinabing treachery, ibig sabihin pagtatraidor. Ibig sabihin walang a chance yung biktima na idepensahan yung sarili niya. Okay, so taking advantage of superior strength, halimbawa ikaw, adult ka na, tapos binugbog mo yung isang 5 years old, namatay yung bata. Of course, you have superior strength over that particular child. With aid of armed men ibig sabihin armado, may mga baril or any other means of para to strengthen yung depensa ng offender or ng taong nag-aatake. Number two, in consideration of a price, reward, or promise. Halimbawa, inutusan ka uh, in consideration of 10,000, napatayin mo si ganitong tao. So, if nahuli ka, then that would constitute murder. Number three, by means of inundation, fire, poison, explosion, shipwreck, stranding of a vessel, derailment, or assault upon a railboat, fall of the airship by means of motor vehicles, or with the use of any other means involving great waste and ruin. So dito, your intention is to kill that person and you use this means like halimbawa paglunod, sinindihan mo or sinunog mo siya or through poison or through explosion. Ngayon, we have to distinguish whether a particular crime is murder or is arson. Halimbawa, if your intention is to kill a person and ang ginawa mo ay sinunog mo yung premises nila to ensure na mamatay siya. So, yung fire doon was used as a means of killing uh, the person. On the other hand, if your primary purpose is to burn a property and as a result, one of the occupants of the property was killed or died, then the crime committed is arson. Okay? So, pang-apat ng qualifying circumstance ay on occasion of any calamities enumerated in the preceding paragraph or on the earthquake, eruption of volcano, destructive cyclone, epidemic, or any other public calamity. So, halimbawa, lumilindol na or nagkakaroon na ng volcanic eruption and then may pinatay ka. So, that's considered murder as well. Number five, evident premeditation. So when we say evident premeditation, ibig sabihin nito, pinagplanuhan mo talaga and you clung to that desire to actually murder or to kill that person. Okay? So number six, with cruelty, by deliberate and inhumanly augmenting the suffering of the victim or outraging or scoffing at his person or corpse. So pag cruelty or deliberately inhumanly augmenting the suffering, ibig sabihin, pinatagal mo or pinrolong mo yung suffering ng isang tao instead of like just pinaputokan, binaril mo na lang or what not, ang ginawa mo, inalisan mo pa ng mga kuko bago mo siya patayin or pinutol mo muna yung dila niya, yung mga parts niya ng ibang parts niya ng body bago mo siya patayin. So that's cruelty. Okay? When we say naman outraging or scoffing of his person, ibig sabihin hindi mo na respeto yung body ng tao after the death. Halimbawa, pinatay mo siya and then after that pinugutan mo and then winagayway mo yung ulo niya. or halimbawa naman binutas mo yung tiyan and then kinuha mo yung intestines and pinalibot mo sa'yo. That's considered outraging or scoffing at his person or corpse. Okay, so next article is homicide. So yung elements ng homicide ay ang mga sumusunod. Una, that the person was killed, that the accused killed him without any justifying circumstances. Number three, that the accused had the intention to kill, which is presumed, and that the killing was not attended by any of the qualifying circumstances of murder or by that of parricide or infanticide. So ibig sabihin, yung mga justifying circumstances no, CLJ 3 nyo, self-defense, mga ganyan. Accident. Number four, one of the elements as well is that wala dito, hindi nag-exist sa kaso yung qualifying circumstances na mention natin in the previous article. So, ibig sabihin, walang evident premeditation, walang scuffing of the corpse, walang treachery, ganyan. Okay, so death caused and tumultuous affray. The elements of this crime are the following. The first one is that there be several persons, that they did not compose groups organized for the common purpose of assaulting and attacking each other reciprocally. Otherwise, they may be held liable as co-conspirators. That these persons quarreled and assaulted one another in a confused and tumultuous manner. That some was killed in the course of the affray, and that it cannot be ascertained who killed the deceased, and that the person or persons who inflicted serious physical injury or who used violence can be identified. So here, pag sinabing tumultuous affray, ibig sabihin there is a commotion na sobrang magulo, and it is composed of several individuals that are not part of a group. Okay? So halimbawa, ang setting natin ay merong, what do you call this? May diskohan sa isang barangay. May isang purok nandun, hindi sila group. May isang purok, may purok 1 and may purok 2. So, hindi sila grupo, pero sabay-sabay silang pumunta doon sa place na yon. So may isang pagkakataon na may magkaaway and then kampihan and gantihan na nangyari. So because of that commotion, may namatay and hindi ma-identify kung sino yung pumatay doon sa taong yon. So with that being said, ang magiging liable po ay lahat ng tao na sumama or nakigulo doon sa place, nakigulo or nakisama doon sa incident na yon. Okay, so physical injuries inflicted in a tumultuous affray, same lang naman yung situation, pero dito walang namatay, pero may mga nag-inflict ng physical injury. Hindi rin ma-identify kung sino yung nag-inflict ng injury na yon. Kasi if ma-identify yung perpetrator or kung sino yung nag-inflict ng injury, then siya lamang yung mapoprosecute or mapafile ng kaso. Okay, so here, this article talks about giving assistance to suicide. So ito yung mga punishable acts under this article. The first one is assisting another to commit suicide, whether the suicide is consummated or not. Number 2, lending his assistance to another to commit suicide to the extent of doing the killing himself. Okay, so here, halimbawa si Juan, best friend niya si Pedro, nagre-request siya na barilin mo na ako, ganyan. And then si Pedro, being a good friend, complied. So with that, it constitutes giving assistance to suicide. So ma'am, what if the one asking to be killed survived? Will he be still liable? No. Ang magiging liable lang dito ay yung taong nag-assist or nag-give assistance na makommit yung suicide na yun. Even if it's just attempted. Okay, so here, next article talks about discharge of firearms. Ito yung mga elements niya. First is that the offender discharge of firearm against or at another person, and that the offender has no intention to kill that person. So here, ang intention kasi pag sa discharge of firearm ay only to threaten an individual. Kasi if that is with intent na to kill, then hindi pwede siyang homicide or murder as the case may be if namatay yung tao, or attempted murder, attempted homicide if there is an intent. But if wala siyang intent to kill and the discharge of firearm was only to threaten, but it is the gun was pointed to a specific person, then pwede siyang discharge of firearm. Now, let's compare this to our discussion before on alarms and scandal na yung isa, halimbawa, isang police during New Year, nagpaputok siya ng barel. Tapos, yun. Pag ganun, hindi siya intended or hindi siya naka-point sa another person, but it was only to uh, para dumagdag sa gulo or para dumagdag sa ingay. With that, yung pagputok niya may be considered as alarms and scandal. Please take note of that. Okay, so infanticide, the elements are the following: that the child was killed, second, that the deceased child was less than 3 days or 72 hours of age, and that the accused killed the said child. Okay, please take note of 72 hours. Now, what if ang pumatay ay nanay? Will it be considered infanticide or parricide? Okay, so kapag ang bata ay less than 72 hours, automatic infanticide siya. Okay, kahit may relationship, kahit anak niya pa yan. Pero pag more than 3 hours na siya, doon na siya papasok sa parricide. Okay, please take note. Okay, so we have here intentional and unintentional abortion. So under intentional abortion, which is under Article 256, the elements are the following: that there is a pregnant woman, that the violence is exerted or drugs or beverages administered, or that the accused otherwise acts upon such pregnant woman. Number three, that as a result of the use of violence or drugs or beverages upon her, the fetus dies either in the womb or after having been expelled therefrom, and that the abortion is intended. So, here the perpetrator, intentional niya na gustong ma-abort yung bata. So, ang ginawa niya, sinipa niya yung babae, tapos nahulog sa hagdan. So, that may be considered intentional abortion. Now, pag sinabing unintentional abortion naman, walang deliberate or intent para ma-abort yung bata. Hindi ko na-edit 'to. Unintentional abortion, walang intent, kaya nga unintentional. So halimbawa, naglalakad sila sa hagdan and then suddenly, na natap natap niya and then nadulas yung babae, then because of that, dinugo and then nalaglagan siya ng bata. So, maaaring ma-consider siya as an intentional abortion. So, Article 258, ito naman yung kaso kapag yung babae mismo or yung parent niya ang gumawa or nag-execute ng abortion. So, yung elements niya ay ang mga sumusunod: that there is a pregnant woman who has suffered abortion, that the abortion is intended, and that the abortion is caused by the pregnant woman herself, any other person with her consent, or any of her parent with her consent for the purpose of concealing her dishonor. Please also take note that if the intention of the woman, of the mother, and the maternal grandmother is to conceal embarrassment, that may be considered as a mitigating circumstance. So, ibig sabihin, pwedeng mapababa yung penalty against the woman and the maternal grandparent. Okay, so we have here Article 259, or abortion practiced by a physician or midwife in dispensing of abortives. So the elements are the following: that there is a pregnant woman who has suffered an abortion, that the abortion is intended, that the offender, who may be a physician or midwife, causes or assists in the causing the abortion, and the said physician or midwife takes advantage of his or her scientific knowledge or skill. So ibig sabihin na gumawa po ng abortion dito ay isang tao engaged in the medical field. So they take advantage of their knowledge, of their experience sa medisina para magsagawa ng abortion. The abortion kasi is not yet legal here in the Philippines. So any act na malaglagan or maabort yung bata is punishable under the law. Okay, so we have here mutilation under Article 269. So the elements are the following: that there be a castration, that is mutilation of organs necessary for generation, such as penis or ovarium. Letter B, the mutilation is caused purposely and deliberately, that is to deprive the offended party of some essential organ for reproduction. So when you say mutilation, ito yung pagputol, pagsira, ano ba? Without na tapos yung part na yon is no longer susceptible of growing back. Okay, so we heard the several news na parang yung asawa, pinutol yung ari nung asawa niya kasi nagloloko. Ganyan. So that is considered mutilation under Article 262. Okay, so let's move on to serious physical injuries. Mahirap kasi somehow it's hard to distinguish between or among the different forms of physical injuries. Kasi 'di ba meron tayong serious, less serious, and slight physical injury. So let's talk about them. The first one is serious physical injuries. So masabing merong serious physical injuries kapag una, when the injured person becomes insane, nabaliw siya, naging imbecile, naging impotent, or blind as a consequence of the physical injuries inflicted. Okay, so nabaliw, nabulag, wala na siya sa tamang pag-iisip because of the damage or the injury. Number two, when the injured person loses the use of speech or the power to hear or to smell, or loses an eye, a hand, a foot, an arm, or a leg. So, yung power to hear dito, dapat both ears. Kapag isa lang, hindi siya papasok sa serious physical injury. Loses the use of any of such member. Letter C, becomes incapacitated for the work in which he was theretofore habitually engaged in the consequence of physical injuries inflicted. So because of the physical injury, hindi na siya nakaka-work or naging incapacitated na siya yung na magtrabaho when in fact it was what he did before the damage or the injury was inflicted against him. So there is also physical injury kapag merong deformity. So, deformity, ibig sabihin, physical ugliness talaga. Loses any of such member of his body, loses the use thereof, becomes ill or incapacitated for the performance of work in which he was habitually engaged for more than 90 days in consequence of physical injuries inflicted. Okay, so pag sinabing deform, sabi ko nga parang physical ugliness. Halimbawa, sinuntok mo nawala ng mga ngipin. Serious physical injury yon. Tapos even if you just scratch her face and then may peklat siya sa face niya na hindi na magagamot, that may also be considered as physical injury kasi physical ugliness na siyang physical ugliness na siya. Number 4, when the injured person becomes ill or incapacitated for labor for more than 30 days, but not more than 90 days as a result of physical injuries inflicted. Okay, ito yung tandaan kapag naging incapacitated ka magtrabaho for more than 30 days. Ito yung reckoning period natin 30 days for serious physical injuries. Now, for less serious physical injuries naman, yung elements ay ang mga sumusunod. The first one is that the offended party is incapacitated for labor for 10 days but not more than 30 days. And that the physical injuries must not be those described in the preceding article. No, yung sa previous article, incapacitated siya to work from 30 days to 90 days. Dito sa less serious physical injuries, incapacitated siyang magtrabaho from 10 days to 30 days. And yung less slight physical injuries naman, kapag yung tao ay incapacitated magtrabaho from 1 day until 9 days. Yun. Please take note of the reckoning periods that we have listed here. So I think this is the last article for crimes against person. So before yung rape ay under crimes against chastity. So as you may know, during your ano ba yung criminal procedure nyo? Pag crimes against chastity kasi, ang maaari lang mag-institute nun ay yung offended party. Tapos ngayon, yung rape ay minove na sa crimes against person. Ibig sabihin, anyone can actually institute the crime of rape before the fiscal's office, even if hindi sila yung victim or yung offended party. Okay, so we have two forms of rape. Dati kasi isa lang yung traditional rape na alam natin, and the victim there will always be a woman. Whereas ngayon, meron na tayong rape by sexual assault kung saan either gender may be a victim. Okay, so ito yung elements ng traditional rape. Una ay the offender is a man, that the offender had carnal knowledge of a woman. So when we say carnal knowledge, ibig sabihin sexual intercourse. Number three, that such act is accomplished under any of the following circumstances by using force, threat, or intimidation. So tinakot mo, sinasaktan mo, nag-exert ka ng force, and because of that, hindi siya makapiglas. That's rape. Number two, when the woman is deprived of reason or otherwise unconscious, tulog yung babae or lasing, wala siyang kakayahan, depensahan yung sarili niya, rape din yon. Or by means of fraudulent machinations or grave abuse of authority. So here, niloko mo or merong moral ascendancy na nangyari. Ibig sabihin, halimbawa, teacher and the student, may moral ascendancy doon sa situation na yon, or employer and employee. Tapos, tinitake advantage mo yung relationship na yon para magkaroon ng sexual intercourse doon sa tao. So, rape din po siya. And when the woman is under 16 na, 16 yung consenting age natin ngayon, hindi lang updated. So, ganun ka to sa modules nyo. So, anyway, yung consenting age natin ngayon ay 15, 16. So, basta mas mataas na siya sa 12. So, pag any sexual intercourse na at least 15 o 16 ay considered pong rape or statutory rape. Okay, so we have the rape through sexual assault. Ito yung current situation, yung parang aside from traditional rape, we have this one. Kasi diba like what I've said a while ago, um, yung traditional rape, yung victim doon will always be a woman. Whereas dito, maaaring lalaki or pwede ring babae. So yung element ng crime nito ay yung mga sumusunod: that the offender commits the acts of sexual assault, that the act of sexual assault is committed by any of the following means: by inserting his penis into another person's mouth or anal orifice, or by inserting any instrument or object into the genitalia or anal orifice of another person, and that the act of sexual assault is accomplished under any of the circumstances enumerated any of the first act under the first act of committing rape. Okay, so halimbawa, lalaki, pinasok niya yung penis niya sa mouth or anal orifice niya, and then tinatakot niya or nag-exert siya ng force even against doon sa will ng isang lalaki. So here, even if lalaki din yung victim, pasok din po siya sa rape. Okay, so ito yung bagong provisions ng rape. Incorporated din dito yung RA 8353. Okay, so that would be all, and thank you everyone.